We are in Montgomery, Alabama, and we are here to visit the final resting place of Hank Williams Sr. So there's a nice little entry memorial there. And we almost got ourselves into another...
Yeah, that was tight fit.
That was worse than the other one, I think, because then we backed up. Because over this hill, right there is another cemetery, but over this hill and up the hill is the historic part of this cemetery. And we thought, well, this time we didn't listen to GPS, and we should have, I guess. But we thought that's where we were supposed to go, and it turned out to be like the Macon, Georgia one, and real narrow roads, and yeah. So anyway, we're gonna go find the resting place here. Should be just up the hill. And I think because this one is a little more modern roads, we should be okay to drive. I hope. Well, I am not exactly sure why. There is a whole bunch of Royal Air Force markers here. That's interesting. 1941.
Yeah, most of them are all 41.
Are they?
Yes.
I wonder if that was like a whole platoon, or
I don't know.
what would they call those?
If anybody knows, drop it in the comments.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I'm very curious on that.
December, November, then you got some January 42. Huh, interesting. Well, here's some French Air Force. To 45. French Navy, French Army, French Air Force. There's a lot of the French Air Force. Well, here is the reason we actually came. I forgot to put my microphone in. It's gonna be really, really windy. Well, that was a good stop. It's a really easy stop. We just made it a little difficult.
A little bit.
Oh, I guess I should have paid attention to the GPS this time. Because when you are near a giant peach water tower, you just gotta stop and get it on video for your viewers. This is Clanton, Alabama. Okay, I know there are millions of these big giant crosses all across the country, but I always like to take a picture of them. I just think they're the coolest things. This one's lit up nicely, and it's crazy, kind of stormy, cloudy, rainy today, so it looks really cool with that cloudy background with it all lit up. 125 foot tall. It is right off of I-65 just north of Birmingham. You're never gonna believe this, but we are at Bucees. This one is in Alabama again, not the same Alabama one we went to, This one is actually, what, maybe 20 miles or so from Huntsville, I'm assuming. Somewhere in that area. I don't know the exact mileage. But, like I said, you know, if it's going to be in our path, we're probably going to stop at it. Well, we're doing another first. We're staying at a Cracker Barrel. This one actually has a lot of RV spaces, which is really nice, because usually I've seen them and they just have like 2 or 3. But there's a bunch here, and there's some over here on this other side too. So we're gonna stay here for the night. We plan to stay at the Welcome Center. It is closed for renovations, which Google did not bother to tell me that when I first directed us to it. So yeah. Anyway, we're just gonna park it here. We found this on RV Parky. We backtracked about 10-15 miles. We are currently in Athens, Alabama. We're not too far from the Tennessee border. We are in Clarksville, Tennessee, and I had to stop and get the shot of Frank Sutton, who was an actor. And if anybody is familiar with Frank Sutton, he was Sergeant Carter on Gomer Pyle, USMC. I always liked his character because Gomer Pyle kind of got on my nerves. I think they made him overly dumb, and I know that was kind of supposed to be the point, I guess, of his character, but it drove me nuts. So I liked Sergeant Carter. He's from Clarksville. This is his hometown, so they erected this statue in honor of him. Not sure what that is. That is an amazing building. Look at that architecture on that. And because Frank Sutton loved his hometown of Clarksville, Tennessee, he wanted to be buried here. And he is buried next to his father, who was also Frank Sutton, and his mother. I think that's supposed to be his mother. That's what somebody else said. That's his mother, and that was like his stepdad. Thelma. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is his mom, and this would have been his probably his stepdad. But you can tell it looks like people do come and visit his grave. That's kind of cool.
He got irritated with Gomer Pyle all the time because he'd go, "Oh, golly."
We are in Cairo. Well, we're outside of Cairo, Illinois, and this is Fort Defiance State Park. Looks like something's completely missing there. This is the spot where you are supposed to be able to see the Mississippi and the Ohio rivers come together. What I read was, and don't ask me, I don't remember where I read it, that this park was a state park. The state didn't want to fund it anymore, or couldn't, or something. And what is this? I don't know. To me, it looks like a UFO. Anyway, they ended up like passing it off, handing it off to either like the National Forest Service or some, like National Conservation type thing or something. And then evidently the government didn't want it either. I'm guessing because it floods a lot. Because, I mean, this has to flood. It does. And so they gave it back to the state, who is now in control of this park. So it's, again, a state park. Now, obviously, anyone that lives in Illinois is probably going to actually know for fact about all that. And please feel free to comment below if I am incorrect. It's just something I read somewhere. I also heard it's not maintained too well or patrolled very well, so sometimes undesirables tend to frequent the park, which is a shame. what are they doing?
They're either going to hook up to it, or
one of those doodaddies,
or they're going to push it. Would be my guess.
Huh. Okay, well, this gentleman that was in here in the park looking at the river thingy, he said the best place is at the top of that observation deck. So I guess we're gonna have to go up there and see if we can see it. So cold. After having been in Florida for several days, we get back here, and what is the temperature? Are we even in the 40s?
It's like 46, I think.
Oh, so cold.
Maybe on a sunny day.
You can sort of see it.
You can see where it runs together.
Isn't it right there?
Yep.
Like where those waves are. Because it's a little not as muddy looking on that side as it is on this side. Does it show up at all?
Yeah,
or
not bad.
Can they see it?
Yeah, you can see all the ripples and stuff where the water's running together.
We've got one more stop to do, and then this whole trip will be over. Well, it won't be over for us. We still got to drive home. But I don't think we have any more stops, do we?
No.
Okay.
Does it smell like it's close to home, Darby?
This is Cairo, Illinois, and I wanted to come down in here because they have a whole lot of historic buildings. I can't remember what dates there was, or what date this place was like established. I can't talk, but it's almost a ghost town, basically. Look at these, everything's like abandoned looking. It's crazy. There's still people that live here, but the population is like so tiny compared to what it was at like the turn of the 20th century. Yeah, look at this one. Wow. Got some really awesome buildings here. This place has a crazy history about it, and I'm not going to remember all the details, but basically there was a whole lot of lynchings, a lot of rioting by mobs that ended in lynchings, and it basically just kind of ruined the town because I guess people were kind of scared to live here, and so they all started moving out. Nobody came. And, I mean, you know, obviously, I'm sure, hopefully anyway, that it's not like that anymore.
But it has a Dollar General.
That's right. Find those things every half a mile. Wow. Yeah, so many awesome buildings here.
I've seen a couple.
Post office and courthouse.
I've seen a couple streets back here. We probably need to go down.
But I just thought it was a really interesting history of this town. It was actually flourishing, you know, like really early 1900s, maybe even late 1800s. And I think that it said they got to a population of like 15,000, which, I mean, I know some of you are probably like, well, that's not big. Well, it's not big, but I believe they said by the 80s, it had dropped to like 6,000, the 1980s. It had dropped to like 6,000, and then I think they said by the 2010 census, it was down to like 2,000 people. So it's just on a steady decline. And, you know, some have said they think that it's possibly the history of the town that just kind of did it in. It's crazy how many of these buildings and houses and stuff just are like abandoned. I mean, that's like an old school. Not sure what that used to be, but it was awfully large.
I would say hospital or something. Bank?
Maybe.
No. Yeah, maybe a hospital. I don't know. That looks like the place where the ambulance would come up to.
Yeah. Oh, yep. Southern Medical Center. That blue one.
Yep.
That is cool. That's a pretty house. See down there, there's poles for stoplights, and there's no stoplights on them. We're assuming they just took them down because they didn't need them. So, a little interesting fact about all their rioting and lynching and things. The National Guard was called in, was it 3 different times to this town over the years? I want to say the first time was like around 1910 or something like that. I really can't remember. And then one was like as late as, was it 1960s?
Yeah.
It's just wild. Wow. That would be a good picture of that one. What a waste of an awesome house. Look at that old brick road. Are you gonna drive on that? Are you supposed to?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I hope there's not a big hole down here that we're not gonna get around. It looks like it's sinking in. Ugh. That's kind of scary. I don't think I've ever seen this many abandoned buildings in one little town before. Those are just like done. And then you got one nice little house right there. Well, 2 nice little houses. Isn't that something? Like some kind of a factory or something, maybe? Delta Center. Look at the murals on the river wall. There's some more brick road. Wow. That's very old. That says historic downtown Cairo, which, yes, it is, but it doesn't look like there's much here. Get a load of that old theater. I gotta get out and take some pictures of that, because that is awesome. Not sure who this is. I saw this. Merle C. Red Courier. Does it say? Nope, it doesn't say anything. I guess I'll have to look it up and see if I can figure out who that is. A little pink house. It's not very little though. I'm actually going down here trying to find this Magnolia Mansion. So this town, some of those buildings had dates on them like 1867, 1872-ish, somewhere in that area. So that kind of tells you how old the town is. Yeah, this is the house, the mansion. Oh wow, that is so pretty. Wow, look how beautiful that is. So if I remember correctly, well, see, it's 150 years old. It's the 150th celebration. And if I remember correctly, the guy was obviously a well-to-do businessman or something that had this mansion built. That one over there is cool too, and it's right across the road from the Magnolia Mansion. And what'd you say? Oh, it says 1865.
Yeah.
And of course it has probably a National Register plaque or whatever on it. That is, I don't know. I like them both. I love old houses. That one's really cool though. That shape of that one is really neat. There's still more. That's crazy. I remember what else I wanted to see. There's a spot where there's a thing that comes down for floodgate. Where is that floodgate?
I would imagine it would be against the wall.
You drive under it. Remember? Because I said, oh, look if that fell as you were driving under it. Oh, that could be it. Yeah, I bet this is it. Oh, that's creepy looking. Wow.
Yeah, so they can shut that down when it floods.
Yeah, that's a little scary. That's kind of sketchy, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a little Final Destination.
Yeah. And we got to go back through it.
I know.
Look, you can see them wheel thingies at the top.
It's part of the pulley system.
I'm saying they haven't had to use it in a long time. That was kind of cool to see. Little spooky. It's a really awesome house. I mean, it looks like something you'd use for a haunted house. This whole town is like this. It's just...
That's for sale. $815.
I could fix it. What was it? 800?
I seen $815 on the sign, so I don't know if that was the asking price or...
Wow. I love that green one over there. We went past it. I really loved it. I think that was pretty. If you like ghosty town stuff and checking stuff, I think this one's really, I mean, it's cool in that aspect. It's just kind of sad that the town is wasting away. We're done, right?
Yes.
We got to go home now.
Yeah.
Back to work tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoyed our trip to Florida, all our stops we made. This is the last video. We got to go home and start planning for the next big trip.